The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Welcome, everyone, to today's edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. I'm Chris Carusa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel, and each week we bring you the goings-on in the towns and villages that we cover. This week we're going to start with Tim Schiefen out in West Bloomfield. Tim, what's wild in West Bloomfield?
Oh, God, there's so much wild stuff out here. I can't keep up with it. Well, today I'm broadcasting live from my auto repair shop because I just got so much to do that I can't break away. But it's so wonderful to have this opportunity to talk to people. And it's so beneficial to let people know what's going on out here before our town board meetings and such. So this will be the first roundtable. I've got a prepared written outline for myself. So here we go. We're on our way back to some normalcy here in town. Or at least we feel like we're on the verge of some normalcy. We're almost back to a full team. Recently, we had a need to fill a town board seat left open by Scott Harmon. I was kind of disappointed I didn't get a chance to work with Scott. He was certainly an asset to our town for a real long time, and he's sorely missed. But when he stepped away, he left us with three openings, an open town board seat, a need to appoint a new deputy supervisor, and a need for a new member on the Boughton Park Board. So after a tumultuous February town board meeting, our board voted to fill that vacant seat with a young lady named Christy Mulhern. We're fortunate to have four qualified, interested community members that came forth for that seat. And after some consideration, deliberation, review of all the candidates, we chose Christy. It was a tough decision. The outcome wasn't what a lot of folks really desired. In the end, the choice would require three of us board members coming together. And what some might see as a pretty simple decision was actually a lot more challenging than we anticipated. I tell people all the time that my job is to guide and direct, and I compare it to steering the boat. But I've also pointed out to my constituents that I'm just one of five, and we all have to get together. We all have an equal vote. And, hopefully the five minds can come together and we can really make the choices that are best for the community. And that's what I'm going to probably beat to death is I don't have an agenda here. My agenda is to do the best job I can for the town and the citizens. And that's where my focus is. And, I bring a lot of skills to that. We're lucky here in West Bloomfield. We're very rural, but that comes with a lack of infrastructure. We have three hamlets, and our hamlets are wonderful little communities on their own, and they each identify with their own identity. We have North Bloomfield, and they're part of the Honeoye Falls-Lima School District. That's my alma mater. We've got Ionia and West Bloomfield. That's part of the Bloomfield Central School District. So, those communities might associate a little differently. But I think that's what gives us some charm and some appeal. It's what makes our township pretty unique. And it doesn't really matter what community they are. It's the same. Everybody wants the same things. We want quality of life. We want a place that makes us feel comfortable. We do have two nice school districts that serve our communities very well. Moving on. We also have got open board seats on our zoning and planning board. And last night we had a special town board meeting where we convened and we interviewed four interested parties for these empty seats. And it looks like we're going to be on the verge of filling those empty seats, and we're going to be somewhat back to normal with proper participation on the zoning board, the planning board, as well as the town board. So that's really what I've desired for quite some time. And unfortunately, I've learned it's taken an awful lot longer than I felt it should have, but that's because of all the processes in place. I've mentioned before, and some people know, I've been a car mechanic for 45 years, and I am a problem solver. I am a diagnostician. I climb inside these machines and I figure out what's wrong. And, my reputation precedes me. I'm pretty damn good at this. And I bring those skills to this process. And we've studied our town and we've looked at what's going on and we've realized, we really need to create a new tone, a new atmosphere, and something I call a new culture. That should be a commonplace phrase these days for many. But this takes some patience. And that's what I kind of am hoping for with our constituents is they'll understand that this is not an easy process. It takes time. And, sometimes what they see as a simple solution isn't so simple. It takes a lot of thought and a lot of consideration, some collaboration, some working together. And we're getting there. The other thing that's coming up, and I'm kind of excited about that too, is our board and the variety and the other members in the town. We've talked about our need for a full-time code enforcement officer. We've been getting by with code enforcement officers under contract from different communities. We've had some part-time code enforcement officers over the past several years. We're working with the county to satisfy our interim circumstance right now with a loss or a lack of coverage in our code office. So we're working to sort out, make a determination of duties, get a go ahead from the town board to create this full-time position for a full-time code enforcement officer. Next step is we'll be looking for applicants to review for that position. And with a little luck, we can get that process moved along here and get away from this backlog we've experienced for quite some time and maybe get somebody who's dedicated to the community that has our interests at heart, much like I feel I do, and much like I feel and hope that our town board members do. So I'm kind of eager to get that done. I'd like to get the full ship in order and try to get this thing moving along. We do have some great projects coming up. Our town did get a $50,000 grant to review our culverts here at our town roads. We've got some aging infrastructure, so the highway superintendent is eager to move ahead with that process and get these problem areas identified and get some plans underway to improve and repair and get back to proper highways and proper drainage. We also are working with the DEC to review our town transfer station. A lot of our rural communities have a transfer station where people can bring their waste and their debris. And by the end of 2028, we're going to be out of our contract with Casella. So there's potentially some considerable amount of changes coming up with costs, procedures, and our transfer station has outgrown its footprint. So we're eager to get to that too. We'd like to explore proper recycling methods. We'd like to consider a way to minimize solid waste that gets taken to the landfill. And then we've had some conversation with residents that are interested in moving forward with some type of composting program. That would remove quite a bit of material out of the waste stream. So that's all on the table. That's all stuff we're working on. My highway superintendent, Jeff Ball, is a top-notch guy, a real easy guy to work with. He's dedicated. He's got some great ideas. So those are the blessings that we have out here. We do have good people in place. And so far, so good for me. Let's see, today's the 4th. So I'm working on about 64 days on the job. And hopefully I'm getting used to it, and hopefully they're not ready to report to the town hall with pitchforks and flares and all those nasty things. Maybe we're doing things the right way. And as always, I welcome the input. I welcome comments. My phone is always on. My phone number is posted in our community focus. You can call my auto shop. You can stop at my auto shop. You can find me at the town hall on Mondays every week. And you can find me there on Fridays, but you got to call me because our clerk isn't in the office, so I got to let you in the door. That pretty much sums it up for me. Again, thanks for this great opportunity, and I'm eager to hear what my neighbors have got going on.
All right, thanks, Tim. It's over to Rick now in Honeoye Falls. What's happening in Honeoye Falls, Rick?
Chris, thanks again, as always, for the opportunity. And I've got to say, Tim, collaboration and communication, what a novel idea. And if it's always a challenge, but that will serve you well, serve your community well, and serves your partners well. So wish you the best with that. And we're all here for you as well. It's been a busy week with focus on our village budget. Our first workshop is scheduled for Saturday this week. So as this is being aired, we will have had our first budget workshop Saturday morning at 8 a.m. We have been working on this budget day in and day out for quite some time now. And we're actually looking forward to that workshop process. We think we're in pretty good stead overall, not without any trials and tribulations, but we're in pretty good shape. Our goals, like everybody, are always to maintain a flat tax rate. And we focus on that each and every year, but we also have to know, and we are aware that that's not always possible. In my opinion, as important as maintaining a flat tax rate is also the importance of moving forward, improving infrastructure, growing business, improving housing stock, ensuring we maintain a top-notch staff, and with that, ensuring that we provide a fantastic place to be employed and a workplace that supports those that we employ. We are blessed to have the incredible staff that we have. And actually, I say staff, no, it's really the incredible family that we have. We're really lucky to be here with the people that we have. But, all that comes with a cost. And we work through this each and every year, but I will always say that I will never apologize for positive movement forward. And, sometimes the costs go up, sometimes we're able to maintain, and we'll see what happens through this process. But, on top of the budget work we've been doing, again, right now, it's just been a lot of work on our wastewater treatment plant funding. I think a lot of people hear about the grants that we get, and we've been very, very lucky over the last couple of years in Honeoye Falls. We've been very active on this, but it's important to know that just because we're awarded grants, it doesn't mean that we just get a check and we move forward. There is a ton of work to do to move that funding forward. There's multiple meetings, there's legal documents and legal processes that you have to go through. And there's a lot of stipulations that come along with that funding. It's not an easy process. So it's really, we're on that full time, especially with an $18 million wastewater treatment plant project that we have, trying to get funding for all that. We've been very lucky. We've got a lot of work to do on it. We're constantly working on attaining more grant funding, both at the state and federal level. We're currently working on a request for congressionally supported funding through Congressman Morelli's office. It's just a never-ending process. And let's not forget, I keep talking almost every week about the wastewater treatment plant, but we're also looking for funding for emergency services, for our parks, for road infrastructure, and so much more. It's not an easy business to be in, but I have to say, it's one of the best businesses I've ever been involved in. So a lot more to follow in the upcoming weeks, a lot of things going on in the village that we'll keep reporting on, but it's always a pleasure to be here and to be here with my fellow partners in municipal government. And Chris, thanks again for the opportunity.
All right. Thanks, Rick. Now it's over to Joe Elati in Mendon. What's moving in Mendon, Joe?
Hi, everybody. I wanted to thank Tim and Rick for their comments. I could say ditto to a lot of the things that you two have said. And I want to thank Rick for being just moving forward with communication and keeping me involved and in the know as to things that affect both the town as well as the village. And I do appreciate that, Rick. And Tim, I would love to have that same rapport with you as we get to know each other better. and understand each other's needs and how we might be able to help each other. So last week was a bustle of important and informative meetings with a focus on the hamlet of Mendon. First and foremost, I met with Monroe County Water Authority to discuss the slew of water main breaks in the hamlet in particular. We discussed the various property damage claims, the follow through and completion of repairs, including landscaping that are very much needed, and kind of holding their foot to the fire on that to make sure that they follow through and make our businesses in the hamlet and our homes whole after there's been damage to these properties. We also talked about I got a good understanding of how the water authority works and how they handle claims, how they go about servicing the community in terms of when water main breaks are reported. They they were indicating that they feel that they're very quick about it. They take about an hour and a half, which sounds like a long time for someone watching water bubbling up in front of their home or against their home. And but an hour and a half really realistically is not a bad response time. And education and trying to understand where each other are coming from will get the job done. And I will continue my meetings and communications with the water authority to make sure if our water main needs to be replaced in the hamlet, then I'm going to be pushing forward on that agenda to make sure that happens. So I'll continue learning more and working on that to make sure we're taking care of our water issues in the hamlet there. I also met with some business owners, met and also had discussions on the phone with business owners in the hamlet. We talked about the water main problems. We talked about other necessary improvements. We brainstormed future ideas and projects that could involve the Mendon Community Business Association. I talked this week with our Buildings and Grounds Department, Kevin, about issues in the hamlet and things that we could do to make the hamlet look better and just make it a really nice place to go, no matter what's happening in the hamlet. I met with a resident regarding a retaining wall issue that's been ongoing for a couple of years. And I'm really pleased to announce that we negotiated a solution that's amenable to all parties. And it's not only resolves the structural issue there, but it looks like our resolution is going to save approximately $37,000 for the town. So I'm really proud of that, really happy about it. Of course, we have some work to do, but we have an agreement, and it looks really good that we can finally resolve that. New work begins both physically as well as electronic. We're starting to plan new sidewalk connections for the Lehigh Valley Trail to 250. Well, actually, we're not planning that. That is happening. That we've given the green light to go ahead and put that part of the sidewalk in. That was already in the process and approved prior to me getting here. So we're just going forward with that, and we'll be watching to make sure that goes well. Future sidewalk construction is still in the works. We have a big project that's in development, but a lot of decisions will have to be made on that. We're starting to work on the second phase of our records grant. The first phase will enable the tax assessors. The first phase will allow our building department's records to be digitized. And that's an important piece that will not only streamline their work, but also help us preserve all the records. The second phase, should we get awarded that grant, will enable our tax assessors' records to be digitized. And if we're fortunate enough to get a third grant to keep the funding going on this project, phase 3 would include the clerk's records as well as the historian's records. So digitizing them will not only protect them, but make it a heck of a lot easier to find things and keep everybody productive. A few other notes. You all know our EV chargers over at the library here in the village haven't been working for a while. And I've been working diligently on that. I really would like to get those up and going. I thought we had a solution last week, and it turns out that solution's not going to work. And we're gonna not go back to the drawing board, but we have a plan going forward, but it's gonna take a little more time. The choice is simple. We're looking at seven to $12,000 investment, depending on exactly what we do in order to upgrade those chargers. Uh, the There are grants for that. So we can wait till fall and apply for grants, or we can go ahead and spend the money now to get them up and running. If you have any comments about that, please feel free to email me. I'd love to hear from the public and people on that. I also met with our town engineer, MRB, Tom Fromberger, and we had an extensive meeting this week and talked a lot about many projects. And you'll be hearing more about those coming forward. I've got a meeting next week with people from the Blaze soccer team to talk about their needs with our fields and work that's being done on our fields to accommodate that. We also have next meeting scheduled at the town hall is coming right up on the 9th. We've got the Environmental Conservation Board will meet this month, of course. The Historic Preservation will meet on the 11th. Zoning Board scheduled for the 12th. All those meetings are open to the public, and residents are encouraged to attend. And of course, you can also visit on the town website for further details. I just want to advise people that after our warm up this week and some of the nicer weather we've been having, winter's expected, unfortunately, to make a comeback. So don't change those snow tires yet, and be prepared for weather conditions that may fluctuate rapidly as it does in the spring. I know coming to work today, we had a lot of ice, and so just be careful out there. And rest assured, our highway department is well prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws at us next. So, and speaking of the highway department, I'd like to conclude by thanking Deputy Highway Superintendent and Highway Clerk Denise Dexter for her tireless efforts in ensuring that operations there run without a hitch. Denise quietly goes about her work behind the scenes. She's one of the key cogs in the wheel that keeps our town turning. She goes above and beyond on a daily basis, not only for the highway crew, but also providing invaluable input that helps us here at Town Hall, helps us better understand the ins and outs of her department, and act in ways that are mutually beneficial for all of us here at Town Hall, as well as over at Highway. So she really works hard to benefit all of us here at Mendon. And Denise, you're an extraordinary asset to this town. And we're highly fortunate to have you here with us. And that's my conclusion.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Rick, Tim, anything more to add?
Yeah, actually, Chris, if I could jump back on real quick from a county standpoint, I forgot something kind of important.
Go ahead.
So in wearing my hat as a Monroe County legislator, I do cover the town of Mendon, village of Honeoye Falls, part of Parenton, Pittsford, and Henrietta, but also the whole town of Rush. There's been a lot in the news as of late, and I just think it's important to bring this up a little bit. In the town of Rush, and really in Livingston County, it starts there. There's the Horseshoe Solar Project, and there's been a lot of news about that as of late. That's more of a Livingston County project, but it kind of connects into the town of Rush as well. And this is a project, it's a huge project that's been, going on for a little bit of a period of time. And part of that project is that the energy company is doing some horizontal drilling under the Genesee River. And through that process, the first couple holes they started drilling, an aquifer was punctured. There was leakage there, and it's an ongoing issue. the DEC has been very much involved. It's really the group that holds the cards in this, though, besides the developer, if you will, is the Department of Public Services. And I have been in contact multiple times. I've had weekly calls with the lead agent with the Department of Public Services, and I've talked with the DEC. I've tried to keep Monroe County because there's an investment there, but I've tried to keep Monroe County up to date as best I can. But I also want the residents of Rush to know that I'm doing my best to help with this concern. There are now 3 or 4 homes that have lost water. They're trying to deal with all that. And again, it's an ongoing process. But more importantly, I do want to say that our state senator, Pam Helming, and Assembly member Andrea Bailey, who represents that area, have been incredibly active on this whole issue, working at the state level. And they are really keeping on top of this issue. So it's a very big concern for people in the town of Rush. I'm trying my best to keep in contact with some of the people in Rush that have reached out to me as well. But it is a major concern. It's a major project, and I do believe that, I know they're working hard to get everything taken care of and fixed and continue on with the project. But just wanted to mention for the people in the town of Rush, your concerns are not falling on deaf ears. There are people at the state level and local levels that are doing their absolute best to make sure these issues get taken care of and the project gets back on a better path. So for what it's worth, people in Rush, we understand the situation, and there's a lot of people working on this project.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rick, for that important update. Glad you said that. All right. Well, thank you all for being here, and thank you all out there in TV land for watching. Remember, this program airs every Sunday at 1 p.m. on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Like the page or subscribe to the channel, and those platforms will notify you when the broadcast begins. Otherwise, you could read the transcript in next week's paper. That's all for this week. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.